Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada, you know we love you in Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave on a beautiful February 11th, 2019. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, I thought I woke up from an episode of The Twilight Zone this weekend that football was being played, and basketball season was still going on. So I think we're coming back to reality right now.
Yeah, it's always coming back. It's like the movie, I think it was called Twilight Zone from back in the day. You were always living kind of the same thing over like Groundhog Day, and it says Big C. But there's a lot of going on in the sports universe. More football, more basketball. Magic Johnson, they're picking on Magic Johnson for just telling the truth. I think we learned from POTUS, just lie about everything, Big C. That's how you get really noticed in this country. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a host of Cadillac cars. You know, I saw the Golden Globes. I thought it was really incredible over the weekend. Some people complain that J-Lo, is not enough. I guess they say she's not a person of color enough, but she is. And some people didn't like the fact that maybe she was underdressed compared to how some of the African queens, Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul, Diana Ross, and how they performed. Maybe they had more clothing. I thought she did okay. When we're going to talk about diversity, we got to be the ones that champion that. But I want to go back to something that the late Maya Angelou's always talked about, Big C, especially this is Black History Month and Chinese New Year. And life mission is not merely to survive, but it's to thrive, Big C. And as we all thrive, we want to do it with passion. We want to do it with purpose. We want to make sure that everything we do, it can have some humor into it and some style. Now, I'm plagiarizing what Maya Angelou said, but I added my own thoughts to it. We can't make everybody happy. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I know you know what I'm talking about, Big C. But you know that you can't please everybody. I just want to get your thoughts that J-Lo, who's dated a lot of men of color, doesn't matter what color you are, but she came under some criticism. I just want to get your thoughts, if you feel that's fair, Big C, your thoughts.
Well, Charlton, I look at what it was, celebrating Motown.
Yeah.
And I think, far as what the Grammys did was an injustice to Motown. I'm not knocking J-Lo for coming out during her performance. But what I'm saying is that there are not enough African-American men and women to have paid that tribute to Motown, Charlton. There's still a lot of those Motown entertainers that are still alive.
Yeah.
And to not give them the opportunity to represent their own culture in Black History Month, Charlton, to feel that you need to bring somebody else. Motown was not about the celebration of a particular artist, Charlton.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of all artists that have come through that genre in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, Charlton. It celebrated such a rich history of Black music. And that's what it was about, Black music. J-Lo has always been a tremendous entertainer, Charlton. She got her start from some Black entertainers. The Wayans family hired her on In Living Color, Charlton.
Yeah.
That's how she was able to get catapulted into stardom. But there's so many marvelous female Black entertainers. Beyonce, Charlton.
Yeah.
Cardi B's out there.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj, Charlton.
Yeah.
Michelle Monet. The list is endless. Heather Hadley.
Yeah.
Alicia Keys, who hosted it, Charlton.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful women in the world.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the opportunity of Black women to be showcased on a national audience, I think it was a slight to Black women of America during Black History Month, Charlton, that you didn't feel that any of them was worthy or credible enough to pay this tribute to Motown. Blacks get the minimal opportunity in anything in life, Charlton, whether it's entertainment, whether it's in politics, or any walk of American society. But to take a show that's hosted by a white network and say, we're not going to let a Black woman highlight the tribute to Motown. And Motown meant Black music. I think was quite of a slight, Charlton.
I like the things that you brought up, very compelling. And the fact, I know Smokey Robinson said he didn't think it was that much of an issue, but I'm looking at all sides. I mean, everybody has a different opinion when they drink, what you call libations down south, Big C. Some people say it's too sweet. Some people say it's not sweet enough. Some people like it on ice. Some people like it plain. But I look at what I did notice is that some of our beautiful black women who sang over the years, a lot of them, they couldn't sing in mainstream. They had to go to what they call the juke joint or someone's restaurant or someone's, parlor, and they performed. And they had, sold out crowds, but it wasn't mainstream that they were going to. That was always a pushback. So a lot of black Americans perfected their craft. But I will bring up this point, and maybe I'm old school, so maybe people say, oh, there you go being old again. But I thought the attire that some women wear, I thought that was more disingenuous, paying homage to black Americans. I never saw Diana Ross come out and dress in something so scantily clad. I thought that's what J-Lo was getting the pushback for. I mean, at some point in time, you got the elegant Diana Ross, who is just beautiful, and 75th birthday coming up in March. I never saw her perform looking like she was in a bikini. And if anything, I thought, now that might be the Hispanic culture, but I thought I never saw any of our great black actors. Aretha Franklin, she never performed where she was barely dressed. And I thought that was an affront to the black culture, more so than J-Lo not being African American. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the attire was another thing totally separate. I mean, when you look at that, you're representing the black culture dressed that way.
Yeah.
And that was inappropriate, Charlton. I mean, when we think about great black entertaining women of the past, Charlton, who could not stay in the establishments where they were performing, Lena Horne, could not stay in hotels where she was performing, Charlton. Billie Holiday couldn't stay in these establishments. Over the decades, Charlton, we've had black women that fought, to establish class and character. You spoke about the late Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, Charlton. Yeah. Diana Warwick, even Whitney Houston, the late Whitney Houston, Charlton. They didn't dress that way on stage. We've had plenty of quality and classful black women in entertainment, Charlton.
Yeah.
Alicia Keys hosted the Grammys. Did she dress that way?
No.
So, but when you say this is what I have to do to represent black culture, dress this way to draw attention to myself, that was about drawing attention to her, not paying a tribute to a culture, Charlton.
Yeah.
And so I think that the Grammys got it wrong in every fashion. And like we say, everybody's opinionated.
Right.
This is my strong opinion because I grew up watching these very classful black women entertain us over time.
Yeah.
The Supremes, the Marvelettes, Stephanie Mills, all the quality.
Roberta Flack.
Roberta Flack. When you think about these women, Patti LaBelle, Charlton.
Oh, yeah.
That when you sit there and you lean back and you could just resonate that these women were singing to you with such a soulful and classful voice, Charlton, that they didn't have to demean themselves by coming up there being scantily clad.
Yeah.
Their voice and their character was the entertainment that you sought out, Charlton.
Yeah.
Not about an outfit that they were carrying on.
Yeah.
So, that's what I look at with J-Lo. I mean, J-Lo appeals to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But that performance, Charlton, didn't appeal to everybody.
No.
And I think that, some of the black entertainers said they didn't find it, that bad. They were being kind, Charlton, because when you look at those elder black entertainers, Quincy Jones being there, nominated for more Grammys than anybody in history, Charlton.
Yeah.
I mean, what J-Lo was representing was the young rap crowd that goes out now.
Yeah.
They weren't being honored as part of Motown, Charlton. So when we go back and we look at the classful acts that came through Motown, Charlton, I think it was quite denigrating to them.
Yeah.
As far as the history of great black entertainers and women, Charlton, they never dressed that way.
Well, I love your look at that, Big C, and I think Smokey was being Smokey. He was being a little bit kind, a euphemism by saying, well, he had no problem with it. I want to just bring something up because I don't want to see black culture stolen. We know Chuck Berry did the rock and roll, but everybody thinks Elvis started it. Because there's a thing in Hollywood, well, they'll use someone white, like the Beastie Boys, instead of looking at, Belle Biv DeVoe back in the day. Or even if you would, I'm not going to say Two Live Crew, but there was a group called Mint Condition. There was Bobby Brown and his good old boys when they were doing their things. Even from MC Hammer, there were so many black artists, Usher, that they tried to find someone white to sing the hip hop music.
Well, you can go back to the Jackson 5, Charlton. The Osmonds was a counter to the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
You spoke about, Chuck Berry. Little Richard was there. I mean, Elvis stole all of what Chuck Berry and Little Richard was doing.
Yeah.
And went on stage with it. I mean, we found that in every genre, Charlton.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice.
Was
Vanilla Ice. A white rapper.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you find something in everything to cross over. I mean, you can go back into the 60s.
Yeah.
50s. Find acts, when black artists put out a song, they always found a counter to get a white artist to do the same song.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't play the black music on certain radio stations in the 50s and 60s, Charlton.
Yeah.
So they put a white spin on the same song word for word and changed the music.
Yeah.
So this is something that's always been done, the robbing of culture. You go back through history and you look at black creations, Charlton.
Yeah.
The robbing of a culture has been something that's always been there.
Yeah.
And then I to slight a culture last night, Charlton, with that performance at the Grammys, I thought it was just a black slap in the face to black culture myself.
Yeah. I'm looking at all angles, and I understand what you're saying. I look at the great Diana Ross, the 61st Grammy Award, 75th birthday coming up next month, and she did something that was so poetic, that's wonderful, that we all teach to our children, especially when a child is born, or even for our parents and elderly grandparents. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. I think about that song, how many times I sang that song as a young boy growing up. Reach out and touch somebody's hand and make this world a better place when you can. She's born in Detroit, part of the Supremes Motown. I'm coming out, upside down. I sang that song so many times. She had 42 number one songs, 91 singles, and 59 albums. A television movie star, Lady Holiday, Billie Holiday, a lady singing the blues, one of the best entertainers in the universe, Diana. Now, what I loved about Diana Robbins, when I think about what happened last night, Diana Ross, when I think about how she dressed, Diana Ross dressed in a beautiful, elegant red dress. Now, we think about Jackie Robinson, how he, integrated baseball, allegedly. Mainstream wouldn't let him in. But what she did in that class, you could be a young person last night, watch Diana Ross perform in an elegant gown. And then when J-Lo came up there half naked, I thought they gave J-Lo the stage when it should have been Diana Ross is the crescendo. That's what I thought was offensive also, Big C. Would that make any sense? Your thoughts?
Well, it should. I mean, when you think about the modern-day dominant black women, like I said, why wasn't Beyonce honored with that prestigious opportunity, Charlton?
Yeah.
To pay homage to Motown. Everyone knows who Beyonce is, Charlton. Class and character.
Yeah.
One of the most recognized black women in the world, Charlton.
Yeah.
But you want to put J-Lo out there saying that you didn't have enough quality representation from the black artists out there today, Charlton.
Yeah.
To do this, I would have loved to see Heather Hadley.
Yeah.
And I know mainstream all don't know who Heather Hadley is, Charlton, but she's one of the most powerful singers there are out there, Charlton.
Yeah.
You could have put Regina Bell in that light, and you're going to tell me that Patti LaBelle doesn't know enough about Motown, Charlton?
Right.
I'm talking about putting artists out there that all black culture recognizes.
Yeah.
That can pay homage to people that were mentors to them growing up.
Yeah.
People can say that J-Lo learned from Motown, Charlton, but she's not Motown.
No.
What artist out there hasn't learned from Motown? You can look, the Beatles learned from Motown.
Yeah, they sure did.
But they wouldn't be the group that you would put out there if they were in existence to represent Motown.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones, Charlton, learned from Motown, but Mick Jagger wouldn't have been the proper individual to pay tribute to Motown. So to go out there and say the best that you could do was J-Lo, and I think a lot of what they did with J-Lo was part of this political menace that's coming on from the White House.
Yeah.
The brown wave going against Mexican Americans and Mexicans coming across the southern border.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, we're going to put a Mexican in the mainstream at the Grammys so that everybody can see that Mexicans are part of American society. We all know that, Charlton.
Know that, yeah.
But when you're celebrating black culture, Charlton, you don't need but somebody black to do that. Somebody who's gone through the struggle, not personal, but maybe family members, Charlton, that have lived it, that can really understand it and give it to you from the heart, from the emotion, not just from a script that you're reading, Charlton.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I just love what you bring when you bring. I mean, everybody has their own opinion, and when you bring it that way, Big C is real because you want someone who went through the struggle, not showed up once the struggle was over, if that makes any sense. I want to just pay one more homage to this moment. Alicia Keys came out. They had Lady Gaga. They had Jada Pinkett. And they had the First Lady, really classy, in Michelle Obama. And I contrast how her family's been through so much garbage over the birther movement that, POTUS, such a bigot, started. Yet the State of the Union, they got the First Lady, POTUS's wife, to get a standing ovation because that's just what people do. But I thought you would never see Michelle Obama post nude in a magazine. But you have that in the First Lady that we have now in the White House, Mrs. Trump, Melania. That's not classy, especially for young girls. I mean, everybody, that's how you get down is how you get down. But we talk about class, something to make your grandma happy. You can look at whatever Mrs. Michelle Obama's done, the First Lady, and be proud of that. You can't be proud of certain segments when the current First Lady spread eagle in a magazine naked, as if J-Lo was trying to act like her last night on the show. So as I listened to older black people that were more offended than the younger people, that things go by their head, because like you said, they were in the struggle. But I was really touched by seeing Michelle Obama come out there at the Grammys, Big C, and they had Diana Ross there too. That's what class is. I just want to get your thought on the First Lady not being so regal that she can't meander with young people, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, when you look at Michelle Obama, Charlton, she's a part of real America. She doesn't separate herself from the masses. She's always been a part of that. Even when she was First Lady, Charlton, she was also always accessible to America. She thought about the youth of America, Charlton, being a part of that. I look at how the current First Lady has plagiarized her slogans and stuff, and taking her prints and changed the cover, even though it's all the same, like this Be Best slogan that she has. Michelle Obama wrote what it's all about. She just slapped a new name on it, Be Best, because she couldn't speak good English.
Didn't we just say mainstream?
When I think about Michelle Obama being in the public spotlight, Charlton, making it a point that America still sees that she's involved with them, that she doesn't have to go off and hide somewhere, Charlton, in some high-rise building in New York, and not become amongst the masses. This current First Lady, Charlton, could not identify with Motown. She doesn't know anything about black America. Could not understand any portion of black history. But it's part of Michelle Obama's fabric, Charlton. Her family, her parents were part of that civil rights, Charlton, of that desegregation class. And she was a product of it, Charlton, knowing how to achieve and strive through education. And she's always preached that, Charlton. But to show her face at events like the Grammys, Charlton, it gives inspiration and power and hope to young people still today, Charlton, that she is with them through the struggle and fight on an everyday basis.
And I think about, as I talk to some of my elder, black women that were offended about, it was mostly, I guess, J-Lo's attire and the fact that she's not black, but not black and dressed that way as if you're in a nightclub as opposed to a celebration for an award show. Want to also pay homage to Dolly Parton. Been listening to her songs for so many years as a young boy, and to have her come out and perform. It's amazing how she's still doing it. They're still going strong, these iconic figures that we have that we listen to. So congratulations to Dolly Parton for her performance as well. Last thing I'll touch on, for Drake, he won an award, and I thought it was funny, when you would win an award, you're supposed to pay homage to the people giving you the award, to the Grammys. But as Drake was telling everybody that young people, you don't need anyone's approval to be what you want to be, to believe in yourself. You don't need to win this award. And then they cut him off. He was on TV, so they're like, wait a minute, this is our show. So they cut him off, but I think his message was, you don't have to get this pat on the back from mainstream to show that you're successful. Oftentimes, before even Drake was born, even though he's from Canada, black men, like we talked about before, and women, they couldn't perform mainstream. Just want to get your thoughts on, now let's look at it this way. For the award show, and, you know, Drake doing his thing, I think that sometimes he included so many other people that he wanted to pay homage to, but he's also a Canadian, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, the rest of Drake's statement was, the award is when people come out and see you perform.
Yeah.
Is that when those people who go out and work hard every day and they spend the money to stand in the rain, in the snow, outside of arena to get in and see you, that's the biggest award as an entertainer you can receive, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because when you think about the number of entertainers that are nominated every year, and you have one winner in every category. So what you're saying, if it's based on an award alone, Charlton, is that those other entertainers are not worthy to go see.
Right.
What Drake said was, this is homage to every entertainer who is out there, who is receiving the fans who are coming in and paying to see their events, Charlton.
Yeah.
That's the biggest reward and trophy that you can get as an entertainer.
Yeah.
Is that people aspire to see you. You think about, we just had the NFL season end, Charlton.
Yep.
And we had the individual player awards at the end of the season. MVP offensively, defensively, best whatever position player that you played. Do you think anybody showed up at a Chiefs stadium, Charlton, just to see Patrick Mahomes play?
Wow.
No, he was a great part of the entertainment, but they showed up to see the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Did anybody show up at the Coliseum in Los Angeles just to watch Aaron Donald? No, Charlton. They showed up to watch the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
They paid homage, Charlton, to every teammate that these players had.
Yeah.
At the Super Bowl, did they show up just to watch Brady and golf? No. They showed up to watch the Patriots and the Rams, Charlton.
Yeah.
Brady didn't win the MVP. Edelman won the MVP.
Yeah.
Was that MVP trophy any more, was it less valuable because Edelman won the trophy, Charlton?
No.
Over, anybody else? No, they show up to watch teams play, Charlton. Do you think that those players who won the Super Bowl feel that the Super Bowl trophy is more valuable or their individual rings is more valuable, Charlton?
Yeah.
It's the individual rings.
Yeah.
So when you look at that as an individual award at the Grammys don't want entertainers sliding any part of their program, and that's why Smokey Robinson spoke kindly about J-Lo's situation.
Yeah.
He's not going to tell his true feelings about that because as one of the pioneers from Motown, Charlton, one of the last few that are still alive, that could sit there and say, hey, all the beautiful black women that I worked with throughout my career, that I wrote songs for, that I sang duets with in Motown, and some of them are still alive. And even entertainers that came after them that learned from those beautiful black women of Motown and men of Motown. That we can't utilize any of their great talents on this national world stage to represent the culture that I came from as an entertainer. Is that we have to go outside our culture to get somebody to represent us. We had enough of our music stolen in the 50s and 60s, Charlton, and 70s from non-black entertainers. And now on the biggest stage in 2019, during Black History Month, it's still being stolen, Charlton.
Well, I think that's what I love about our show. We can call it out. I haven't heard anybody outside of just I think I saw something on a CNN where they were talking about it, but none of the other sports shows pay homage to our black entertainers. Well, they should, because what I love about what you do, Big C, you know something about everything, but whenever you go into an environment where teams are playing sports now, they have these headphones that they put on their heads. What are they playing? They're playing music. They're playing music from some of our greatest stars. And the fact that we can pay homage on a sports show to some of these great black iconic figures that, thank God they're still with us. I love the fact that we can bring up the fact your opinion, it's an opinion, but a lot of people have that same opinion, that you can see things being stolen from you when you don't say anything about it. I think if you'll just understand what you just said, there's so much that's beautiful in black that if we don't speak up for it, it will be gone. And people will start thinking that the history doesn't even exist. I love what you said about that. Yeah.
What we do on our show is a lot like what got Bob Costas fired from NBC.
Yeah.
Great sports broadcaster, Charlton, over the decades. Bob Costas, prior to the 2017 Super Bowl in Houston, went on a show and said that the NFL was destroying brains. Football was destroying brains.
Yeah.
And NBC took offense to that Bob Costas was being honest.
Being honest, yeah.
And they yanked him from that broadcast from the Super Bowl, Charlton. He had a halftime, piece that he was going to do. They removed him from that. They fired him because he was being honest. Yeah. And that's what sports broadcasting is now, Charlton. You cannot be honest in sports broadcasting. If you want to be on television, you cannot be honest. You cannot tell the masses the truth.
Yeah.
NBC has billions of dollars invested with the NFL. NBC told Bob Costas, you're right, but we can't say that. We can't be honest to the public.
Yeah.
So we're going to pay you, but we're not going to let you be on air anymore. We're going to let you retire from our network, Charlton, because the NFL has already suffered lawsuits for CTE and lost, Charlton. Made a settlement.
Yeah.
But we can't go out there and admit wrongdoing because the NFL did not admit wrongdoing.
Right.
They didn't say that they were destroying brains, that they were killing people.
Yeah.
Brain damage, Charlton, has been suffered by many of players, and, they pass it off as something else. CTE didn't exist. It's Alzheimer's. Let's say it's Alzheimer's, not CTE.
Right.
We can't admit that this brain damage has come from over the decades. If you look at all the football-related deaths, Charlton, from youth football, it never gets publicized.
Nope.
College football, you might hear one periodically now, but you didn't hear about them 20, 30 years ago. And professional football, Charlton, there's no one died on the field lately.
No.
But it has happened in the NFL.
Yeah.
But it has happened shortly after the game, Charlton. But, you would always pass it off on something else. To be honest about a professional sport, to tell the truth to America about what occurs, that's something you can't do because this is big business. It'd be like the pharmaceutical companies coming out in all these commercials, instead of having this fast red disclaimer saying, well, this will destroy your kidneys, your liver, potentially give you a heart attack, you may suffer a stroke, before they tell you what the drug is. Now, do you want to take this? Are they going to tell you that? No.
No.
So they give you some fast read at the end, Charlton. Consult your doctor, But they're not going to tell you that this drug will kill you in 5 years, 10 years. So they're not going to allow the NFL or anybody who's broadcasting the NFL to tell you that the NFL causes catastrophic health damage to the body.
That's true.
So that's the reason why Bob Costas is outages. Because he was honest.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a broadcaster on air today, Charlton, on any network. Be honest about the dangers of any professional sport.
Yeah, that's why I guess that's why they're called talking heads. I've always enjoyed the work of Bob Costas. Some people think he's smug, but he's very well read and polished. And
he's intelligent. He's an encyclopedia when it comes to sports, Charlton.
You mean he doesn't just get on TV and yell at people who can yell the loudest? He's not that kind of sportscaster?
He's not guessing, Charlton. He is telling you accuracy, regardless of the sport, whether it was the Olympics, professional baseball, football, basketball, Charlton. This man was as intelligent as anybody in the history of broadcast television when it comes to sports.
No, I miss the days of those broadcasters, Big C. Just like we say, Google it. We want to be factual. A lot of people don't care about that. Speaking of factual, I want to get your thoughts on some NBA talk. It's almost a shame when owners can trade people in the middle of the night, even when you're in the third period, and doing a layup. Don't trade it. Don't make the pass. Don't make the basket. But we still got people getting fined. Like for example, Magic Johnson and the Laker brass, they had a big win in Boston. They were flat against Philly. I still think they're more the team that beat Boston than the team that lost at Philly. That's just my opinion. We'll see how it fares out at the end of the season. But who's the biggest star now in L.A.? Is it Magic Johnson? Is it LeBron James? Who's more valuable to the Laker franchise? I want to ask you a question that almost might seem crazy, but it's happened before. Magic Johnson said if the Lakers didn't, win and compete in the next 2 years, he'd be out. Now, he was fired before as a basketball coach for the Lakers. Are we on the precipice of seeing something like that happen again, where the Laker organization would say, look, LeBron's more important to you than you in the next 4 years? If someone had to go, I don't think either one of them should go, but Magic said he would go if they didn't have success. Could you see that happening twice from their Hall of Famer? Big C, your thoughts?
Oh, I can, Charlton. I can actually see that. LeBron has guaranteed 4 years on his contract. Magic Johnson, Charlton, is more of a media head for the Lakers.
Yeah.
He was brought in for marketing. He wasn't brought in for basketball knowledge, Charlton, because that's not Magic's thing. He has his hand in too many. He's with the Dodgers. He's with the Lakers.
Yeah.
He's running his corporation. You got to give 100% when you're in a professional sport, Charlton, to that sport. Magic was the marketing ploy that the Lakers needed to bring in, Charlton.
Yeah.
To say, okay, because we got Magic, we can get the big stars in here now.
Yeah.
Those big stars watch Magic play, Charlton. Magic hasn't done anything since he's retired to make those stars any better. When he came in as a coach with the Lakers, he failed miserably.
Yeah.
So his evaluation of talent, Charlton, has never been there.
Yeah.
I mean, he brought in LeBron. That's a no-brainer. I don't care where LeBron could have went to New York.
The landscape,
and the team would have still been in the same situation.
L.A. brought in LeBron. It's the landscape, not a person per se.
Yeah. He came to L.A. because it prepared him for the rest of what he wanted to do the rest of his life, Charlton.
Yeah.
LeBron had this move to L.A. put in place 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When he started buying property in L.A., Charlton. He didn't buy a $20 million house to say, okay, I'll visit it twice a year.
Okay.
That's not what he did.
Yeah.
So the move was easy.
Yeah.
LeBron just said, hey, with the contract, I'm going to sign it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
that's
true.
true.
The thing about Magic and Rob Pelinka, Charlton, what else were they able to attract?
Yeah.
That's the key. That's the true gamesmanship there.
Yeah.
When you look at the young Lakers that they had drafted last year, Charlton, they picked up some nice draft pieces.
Yeah.
Other than the ball kids.
Yeah.
But the veterans that they brought in, Charlton, basically for minimal money, that was no big coup. These guys were happy to get a job.
Yeah.
And to play with LeBron because they were on the downside of their career.
That's...
So it was an easy move. But you didn't make a splash during the trade thing, Charlton. Even though you swung it out there that we want Anthony Davis or nothing. Yeah. You could have made 2 or 3 marginal moves, Charlton, to bring players in to help this team get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's 26 games left in the season. We're way past the halfway mark when the All-Star game comes. The Lakers have to win 16 more games, Charlton, to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they don't win 16 out of that 26 games that are left, Charlton, they're not going to make the playoffs.
Wow.
They got drubbed in their last game versus the Sixers.
Yeah.
So when you talk about Magic's influence, Magic doesn't play anymore.
No.
There's not a GM out there that plays. Jerry West is doing a better job as a GM than Magic, and you don't even know Jerry West is on the other side of the arena working for the Clippers.
Well, you also...
One of the greatest GM minds in the history of the NBA. His logo is on every pair of pants in the NBA.
Yeah.
But you don't see his face or hear his voice in the media saying, oh, I'm doing this.
Now, when a guy got $1 billion, it's hard to tell him that he's doing something wrong. But I noticed that Magic Johnson's taken on the Jerry Jones persona where you see him on TV more than the star players. And unlike even the Kings where Vlade Divac they built from the draft. They didn't bring in an older guy and try to, with ego and a couple of championships, and tell young people to come play Robin to Batman.
Charlton, he built the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
And you never knew Jerry West was there.
No.
All he did was go out and draft all these great players, Charlton. They put together a winning organization. And he said, okay, my work is done here.
Yeah.
Let me go on.
Yeah.
And that's when he went back to the Clippers.
Yeah.
So as a management personnel in the NBA, who do you see the most of? You see more Magic than you see of anybody else.
Yeah.
As you say, he's taken the Jerry Jones persona.
Yeah.
What Magic needs to do, I mean, look how successful Danny Ainge has been with the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
You don't hear Danny Ainge on television saying, I got to make this move, I got to make that move.
Yeah.
Even Elton Brand with the Philadelphia 76ers, young GM, has made some moves this year already. Brought in 2 key pieces with the 76ers. You haven't seen Elton Brand making a splash in the media, Charlton?
Yeah.
but he brought in two integral pieces that's going to help the Sixers, chase the Milwaukee Bucks in the East.
Remember in the Super Bowl, I think it was when the Atlanta was playing Boston, or New England, and Arthur Blank had this beautiful red coat. I didn't know men could wear red coats. Like, he was looking sharp. And he was on the sideline. And I was thinking, why is Arthur Blank on the sideline? And Jerry Jones obviously wants to always be around, especially when they were winning, when Jimmy Johnson was coaching, they were winning Super Bowls. But it was when Blank showed up, that persona changed. I think players, whether they admit it or not, they get tense when they see the GM and the owner hanging around them. They don't need to see you. They want to see you up in the press box. They don't want to see you when they turn around to get some Gatorade. I just thought that's when the Falcons started trending south. I know no one would ever think about that. But when the owners stay out of it, like you don't see Kraft down on the sideline of the Patriots. He's always up in the press box. He's always relaxed. I guess he gets some of that libation you good boys like me, see? But I was just thinking about Magic Johnson. He's a billionaire, though. So how do you tell a billionaire what not to do? They do what they want to do. But for the team, when he starts becoming the face of the franchise, he hadn't scored a basket in, 30 years. That's just something to think about. As far as basketball, 6'4" Anthony Edwards, the number one shooting guard in the nation. In high school, he signed with the University of Georgia today. Now, he signed the number one recruit in the country, Vernon Carey, a 6'10", 275-pound senior. Why so many good players going down to Georgia? They really don't compete for national championships when it comes to college basketball. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, when you think about Anthony Edwards, Charlton, being the number one guard in the country, 6'4", you know he's going to be one and done.
Yeah.
Because that's what it comes when you're the top recruits out of high school, you're one and done. But, Tom Cruise just got the job at Georgia this season, Charlton.
Yeah.
Now, this is a guy who has developed some guards. When you think about the NBA, he coached Dwayne Wade at Marquette.
Yeah.
He coached Victor Oladipo at Indiana.
Yeah.
So, when you're looking at Edwards, he said, okay, now this guy has developed two of the top guards in the past 2 decades in the NBA.
Yeah.
This is the kind of guy that I want to go play for. And when you talk about the other kid going to Duke, Kerry Charlton, he was the number one big man in the country. Duke, that Duke got 4 guys that are one and done.
Yeah.
So Kerry knows that he's going to the NBA. If he goes to Duke, have any semblance of success under Krzyzewski down there, Charlton. But when we talk about college sports, where's all the publicity in college sports, Charlton? It's down in the Southeast.
Yeah.
You think about the University of Georgia, you look how strong the SEC is right now, Charlton, with Tennessee being the number one team in the country.
For now.
Duke being the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah.
And you have nobody on the West Coast, Charlton, getting a top-flight basketball player anymore. Why is that?
Yeah, and in fact, when you think of Bagley and Ayton, they came from Arizona, West Coast territory, and then they didn't stay. Well, Ayton stayed in the Pac-10, or Pac-12, and that helped them a little bit. But
There's a lot of money in Arizona during those days.
Maybe they didn't pay somebody enough money as a coach got the I paid him, so what? I'm still gonna keep my job. I just think that's crazy. But it's amazing how I saw UCLA, and one of the guys that's one of the greatest basketball players in college basketball history. And I'm gonna say this, and people don't have to agree with it, just like the Diana Ross and J-Lo. I mean, everybody loved the way Diana Ross looked, but J-Lo looked like she was at a nightclub, not an award ceremony. But she has, she did what they gave her the opportunity to do. I thought a lot of African-American women got snubbed to have someone look scantily clad, which is that's not what our elders want to see. They want to see people sing based on their talent. That's my opinion. But when I looked at UCLA against Utah over the weekend, Utah won it on a buzzer beater. But they had Bill Walton doing a broadcast, several of them. I think I've seen him at all the venues. Sometimes what I think is hurting the Pac-12, Big C, you don't even know you're watching a basketball game. He's off on some experiment with whatever he's trying to experiment or whoever he's communicating with. Like he's out of touch. Like he's not telling you points per game. He's not telling you rebounds per game, how many minutes somebody has. Is he at number 4? Is he at number 2? He's not telling you any of that. He's almost just insulting to the play-by-play guy. And if his name wasn't Luke Walton, I don't think he would have that job, especially if you're a black man, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, that iconic name of Bill Walton, they want to keep thinking that Big Red is this dynamic individual, Charlton, because he was a college Hall of Famer, an NBA Hall of Famer, Charlton. And they think that because he was there in the 70s, Charlton, in the early 80s, that he still resonates as a player of today, Charlton. We're talking about somebody who's 30 years removed from the game.
I change the channel when I hear him talk for more than 5 minutes. It's hard to listen to. It's not even about basketball.
Well, we've often talked about so many analysts and broadcasters out there talking about themselves.
Yeah.
It's not about the event that you're watching. I think Dick Vitale was a unique individual, Charlton.
Still is great.
It's been college basketball, and he can talk about things that are not the game because it's part of his persona.
Yeah.
I know in the NFL a few decades ago when John Madden was so hot that CBS was trying to get broadcasters to emulate John Madden. They brought in Matt Millen.
Yeah.
They brought in Brian Baldinger. They tried to get them to talk like John Madden.
Yeah.
But they weren't John Madden, Charlton. They were fakes trying to be somebody else because it was disingenuous what they were doing. It was almost like a scripted talk that they were doing during the broadcast.
Right.
And when I look at Bill Walton, who's like he's eating some moon pies or something prior to the broadcast.
Yeah.
Because he's out there. He's way out there.
He's way out there.
And so, they need to rethink what they're doing from a broadcast company and say, hey, Bill, we appreciate what you've done, but
50 years ago.
There's enough young talent out there, Charlton, that can keep you in tune with what you're doing and what the players are doing. You don't always need to reach back and say, let me go get this guy who played the game 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at Jay Billis. Jay Billis left college basketball the same time that Bill Walton did.
He's good, though. Billis is good.
But when I watch Jay Billis articulate and educate me through a broadcast, Charlton.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, you turn to Bill Walton, and it's like you got to turn the channel once more.
Yeah.
To find a soap opera or something you want to watch.
And I think recruits are doing the same. If that's the face of the network, that guy that sounds like he's inebriated or he's trying to impress somebody by insulting the play-by-play guy, I know the Pac-12 is on DirecTV and they're hard to find anyway, but if that's the face of your broadcast, no wonder players don't want to go there. Big C, I want to look at a couple of more things in the world of sports, and I know it's all over this great country that we are all competitive and everybody has their own opinion, but I want to get your thoughts on something. I thought the Alliance of American Football, this American Football Alliance debuted Saturday. I didn't even know it was on. Now, maybe because I'm not glued to the TV, but I hear they have some things that the NFL could implement. I do want to say sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. For every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know that Big C sent you. So the Alliance of American Football Players, Big C, just give me your thoughts. We have Oklahoma City, and actually we had a lot of other players, but the matchup is kind of on par with the OK City and the Houston television ratings. But I didn't even know it was on, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is the affinity that America has for football.
Yeah.
When you look at OKC and Houston, that was the marquee matchup in the NBA over the weekend. The top, triple threat in the NBA and the top scorer in the NBA.
Great game, by the way.
The Alliance of American Football ratings were better than that game, Charlton, the NBA game. That's the affinity that America has for football.
Yeah.
Now, is this something new? Yes, it is, Charlton. But when you think about it, 81% of the players in the Alliance of American Football have been under NFL contracts, Charlton.
Yeah.
So you're not just getting a bunch of scrubs out there, Charlton. You're getting guys that have actually been on NFL rosters that have played NFL games. The thing that I like about this league, Charlton, is that the NFL does need a feeder league, just like minor league baseball.
Yeah.
And the NBA has the G League. It's nice that players can earn money getting ready for the NFL or potentially get another shot at the NFL, other than all the freebies they're getting from college football, Charlton.
Yeah.
You think about all the players that are playing college football that are not getting legal money, Charlton.
Yeah.
These guys can at least get a legal paycheck.
Illegal.
And hopefully, some of them can get back on NFL rosters.
Yeah.
At least get invited back to some training camps, Charlton.
Yeah.
But this just shows the affinity for NFL football, for football in America, Charlton. And there's some rules that the NFL is realistically going to look at, Charlton. They have a 35-second play clock.
Yep.
The NFL has a 40-second play clock. You look at Canada, they have a 25-second play clock. So you got something that's there in the middle, Charlton, that can actually speed up games.
Yeah.
There are no kickoffs in these games, Charlton. Everybody starts at the 25.
Yeah.
I would like to see that rule, if not universal in the NFL, at least in overtime. That both teams, if you can't get the first down, Charlton, the opposing team gets the ball at the 25-yard line. You got 4 down.
Yeah.
The minute you can't get a first down, the other team gets the ball at the 25. Don't punt, get a great punt return or a shank punt, Charlton.
Yeah.
Then both teams get to start at the 25. If you don't score a touchdown, that's when your punting starts at that point, Charlton.
Yeah.
When you start back at the 20. At least you give both teams the equal opportunity to score from the same field position.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that people are going to look at, Charlton. They only had a month of training camp, so they didn't get a lot of preseason work in.
Yeah.
But I think if they can make it through this season, Charlton, and come back next year, then it will be a viable product to be a feeder system into the NFL.
Yeah, I think it's a good league. I just didn't know it was on, and the fact that I didn't know it was on, and I watch a lot of sports, I'm sure there's a lot of people that didn't know it was on, and it still competed with probably the best game over the weekend.
It had more people watch it, Charlton, than watch the NBA. Think about that. You say you didn't know it was on. A lot of people didn't know it was on.
Yeah.
There was a lot more people watching it than they were the NBA.
That's a very good point, too, Big C. And you think about that, they just got more time to market it. I think if they do a better job, it'll get even higher ratings than that. When you think about the University of Georgia, they'll have the 3 of the best recruited quarterbacks start next year in college football. And a lot of them came from different universities. I just want to get your thoughts on this transfer of, I'm glad it's happening where players can leave one school, go to the next. But it's amazing how many players are going south, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you think about the last 3 top recruit quarterbacks that the University of Georgia had, they will all be starting in programs this year in Division I, Charlton.
Yeah.
You will look at Jacob Eason, Charlton. He'll be starting for the University of Washington. He was Georgia's #1 recruit 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He transferred out. Jacob Fromm, who took him to a national championship game last year and the SEC championship game this year, will be the starting quarterback for Georgia, Charlton.
Yeah.
But Justin Fields, who was the #1 quarterback recruit in the country last year, Charlton, transferred out to Ohio State.
Yeah.
And he will be the starting quarterback at Ohio State. So when you think about what Kirby Smart has done, on his national recruiting table, Charlton, he potentially could have 3 quarterbacks in the college playoff next year. If Washington can step up its game in the Pac-12, you know where Ohio State is, Charlton, with the talent-rich base that they have there.
Yeah.
And Georgia hasn't fallen off. They have the #2 recruiting class in the country from high school football. But you just think about the recruiting ability of a coach, Charlton, that you can have 3 of the top 3 quarterbacks recruited over the last 3 years, and they're all going to be starting in the same year at different schools.
That's amazing. Even when I look at Murray, the doors he's opened down at Oklahoma, and he can play football and baseball, like the great Deion Sanders. But there's some national broadcasters. When I think of Haskins, which I think is the best quarterback out there, they were evaluating him and saying that he's playing more of a running quarterback than he's a passing quarterback. And this guy threw for 50 touchdown passes. He only ran for 118 yards, and he set records at Ohio State. There's still some prominent broadcasters saying that he's a running quarterback with 50 touchdowns. I think Dan Marino had 50 touchdowns, Big C, and it took him more games. Your thoughts?
Well, there's a prominent broadcaster on First Take, Charlton, coming out saying, in his opinion, that Dwayne Haskins was more of a running quarterback than he was a passing quarterback. Here's a guy, Charlton, that did carry the ball 40 times in his only year at Ohio State, 40 times. He had 118 yards. Now, I believe, how many games they played? 1, 2, 3. I think they played 15 games, Charlton, or 14 games.
Yeah.
So he averaged, what, 10 yards a game?
Yeah.
He didn't, 8 yards a game. He averaged 8 yards a game rushing.
Yeah.
He threw for 50 touchdowns, Charlton, 4,900 yards. And you're going to have a guy on a national broadcast say this guy is a running quarterback?
Yeah.
So you think about great black college quarterbacks, Charlton, in the last 2 decades that have gone out there and had careers like Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
I look at Brian Leftwich, who played at Marshall, who is now an offensive coordinator in the NFL, I believe, down in Tampa. When he came out of Marshall University, same university Randy Moss came out of, Brian Leftwich could have beat Tom Brady running. And he's a black quarterback.
Yeah.
So, but he was a legitimate pocket passer.
Yeah.
And that's what he was labeled as a pocket passer, because he had no mobility standing at 6'6".
Yeah.
When you look at the kid that came out of Florida State, won the Heisman Trophy, Jameis Winston.
Yep.
The same type of acumen. Everybody said, this is a white quarterback with black skin.
Yeah.
Because he can't run.
Yeah.
He's a pocket passer.
Pocket passer,
Dwayne Haskins is that same type of quarterback, Johnson. Cannon rocket for an arm, very accurate, prototypical NFL quarterback. And so when this broadcaster said Dwayne Haskins was a running quarterback, Ohio State had no RPO action, okay?
No.
They had none with Dwayne Haskins. When they got down inside the 5-yard line, they brought in Tate Martell, the white kid, for the run-pass option, Charlton.
Yeah.
They took Dwayne Haskins out because he couldn't run. So they brought in the white kid who just transferred to Miami, Tate Martell, because Dwayne Haskins, no defense feared him.
Yeah.
They knew if he had the ball, Charlton, and he pulled away from the center, he was going to hand it off or pass it. He wasn't going to run with the football. So if you're just going to sit up and read the teleprompter or not read the teleprompter when you're doing your show, at least do some personal research. and don't make Dwayne Haskins and yourself look bad.
That's like saying Joe Namath was a running quarterback, because would that be accurate to say the same thing if Joe Namath was a running quarterback?
Well, he was running into the bar. That's what Joe was doing.
I understand, Big Z. Former Oklahoma quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner Kyler Murray, he's now committed to the NFL finally, and he'll walk away from his A's contract. Maybe a bad mistake, but it's his life, it's his business, his career. Your thoughts?
No, Charlton, I think it's a tremendous decision made by Kyler Murray, because you can't always sit up as a black athlete and let the media tell you what you need to do. To have opportunities in life, Charlton. Now, if he was a white quarterback making these decisions, he would be an intelligent guy having the bull by the horns, technically.
Yeah.
They would say he's in control. Here's Kyler Murray saying, I can dictate my life. I don't need some broadcaster telling me that I need to play this sport. I don't need a former athlete telling me I need to play this sport. Everybody said, okay, now the draft is turned upside down. The best move in the draft, the Arizona Cardinals, Charlton, have the first overall pick.
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury has coached quarterbacks like Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
They drafted Josh Rosen out of UCLA last year with their first pick, number 11 overall.
Yeah.
Josh Rosen never played a complete season in college. Think about this.
Always heard.
Never played a complete season in college. And no season he had in college equal what Kyler Murray's season was as a one-year starter at Oklahoma.
No, that's
so
true.
If you're talking about upgrading, you bring in a new head coach. That coach did not draft that quarterback, Charlton, who could not play as a rookie.
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to keep my job in Arizona, and I want to have time to build my organization with the type of players that I can have that understand my coaching mantra, I'm drafting Kyler Murray first overall in the NFL draft. He will make a splash in Arizona, Charlton. He will put butts in the seat.
Yeah.
He's from the Southwest, down in Texas, okay? That's not too far from Arizona, Charlton. He can bring fans in, Charlton.
Yeah.
He's already used to wearing a red uniform in college.
Yeah.
Move him to a red and white uniform in the pros, Charlton. And if he can have any semblance of success in Arizona, he's going to change the dynamics of that team, Charlton. He's going to be an upgrade. You think about the last couple quarterbacks that they've had in Arizona, Charlton.
Yeah.
They started out the season with Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
They went from Sam Bradford to Josh Rosen.
Always heard.
Josh Rosen got benched, Charlton.
Yeah.
He got benched. So why would you not draft a quarterback and you don't have one? Josh Rosen has not proven that he's an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
When you think about Kyler Murray, look at the success that Cleveland had with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray was better than Baker Mayfield in college, though.
Yeah, he was.
More accurate.
Yeah.
In everything.
Yeah.
So why would you not draft him 1 overall? Lightning can strike twice.
Yeah.
If he did it for the Cleveland organization, Charlton, with an Oklahoma quarterback, you can do it for the Arizona organization, Charlton.
Big C, last 7 minutes, Carolina Panthers also re-signed safety Eric Reed to a 3-year contract. I think that's good for their defense. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this guy can still play football. You know, he was drug tested more than anybody in the NFL last year, Charlton, because he took a stance with Colin Kaepernick. And so the NFL came after him. They say they didn't, but they did. You're not going to drug test one player 7 times, Charlton, in 13 weeks. You're not going to do that.
Yeah, that's true. And they did that. It was egregious, but they did it anyway. Just want to get your thoughts then. The coaching diversity seemed to have stalled. We talk about Murray, Haskins, 2 great quarterbacks, African-Americans, that should be first-round NFL draft picks. But at the same time, it seems more African-American quarterbacks who've always been maligned are getting more opportunity. The diversity is stalled, it seems, for minorities in the coordinating positions. You think about it, some of the players are coaches out there in offense for Eric Bieniemy for the Chiefs. You have Brian Leftwich for the Buccaneers. Defense, you have Leslie Frazier for the Bills. There's also Steve Wilkes of the Browns. Romeo Crennel, one of the best in business for the Texans. George Edwards of the Vikings. You have Eric Washington with the Panthers. Todd Bowles, he's out there. Buccaneers, Vance Joseph for the Cardinals. Robert Salas for the 49ers. I still think Ken Norton Jr., everywhere he's gone, they've had a good defense. He was a defensive coordinator for the Raiders the last time they were in the playoffs. Now he's on the Pete Carroll in the playoffs again, but no head coaching jobs. Vic, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, 4 of those defensive coordinators were head coaches last year in the NFL. You think about it, that's the best they can do as far as getting a job.
Yeah.
White guy gets fired, he's getting a job right away with another team. They have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But when they say, in the rankings, well, you have to have coordinators to be able to get a job. Why are there only 2 offensive black coordinators in the NFL? You don't give the opportunity. You won't hire them as head coaches.
No.
You won't promote them to offensive coordinators. That's the next stepping stone to getting a head coach. Everybody keeps saying they want the next Sean McVay.
Yeah.
That's a dog whistle, Charlton. They want the next young white head coach.
They want 3 more points in the Super Bowl. They hyped him so much. I think of a movie called The Great White Hype. Not knocking Sean McVay, but there's a lot of players, coordinators that we just talked about. And they will never get the opportunity. I can't say never because never is a long time, Big Steve, you understand what I'm saying? They may or may not get the opportunity, but we can't deny that McVay got the opportunity to score 3 points in the Super Bowl. And when I think about scoring points, you think about why isn't college football talked about on a daily basis on the West Coast like the East Coast, and especially down South? Again, everybody has their own opinion. People don't have to like us, but at least we're factual. Google it. I think if the Pac-12 wants to start competing and try to get at least one team into the tournament, you got to get Walton off of TV. Let him do UCLA radio. But to make him the face of the Pac-12, that turns off recruits. They don't have no idea what he's talking about, Big C. Give me your thoughts on why sports is such bigger in the South than it is out West. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this lifestyle is talked about every day. If you go to any major West Coast city, you don't hear college football being talked about 7 days a week, Charlton. You hear it talked about in the southern states, Charlton, the southeastern states. They talk about it. It's a religion.
Yeah.
And so this is why the kids gravitate to those programs. You don't get the top flight program, the children in California anymore, Charlton, staying out there. They're leaving. They're catapulted. They're going down to, the SEC. They're going into the Big 12 conference, Charlton. They're going to the Pac, the Big 12, Big 10. They don't go to the Pac-12, Charlton. But when you think about it, in your market, is there a program out there, Charlton, that they talk about college football every day of the week? No, I don't think so.
No, they're not.
And so when it's not a mainstay, they're only talking about football, not football, Charlton, but basketball and some baseball out there.
Yeah.
Baseball is third on the ledger down south here, Charlton, when they talk about, even during baseball season. College football comes up every day.
Yep.
The NFL, they're talking about the moves that all the teams are making in the NFL in the southern states, Charlton.
Yeah.
Those states that have teams, they're talking about the cuts, the potential signings, salary cap implications, all of those things, Charlton.
Yeah.
When National Signing Day, Charlton, came up, These stations down here were covering them live in the South.
Wow.
They didn't do that in California. It was no interest. The TV stations as well as the sports radio stations, Charlton, covered them live, the National Signing Days, because it's important to them.
Yeah.
And so when it's important to the broadcasters, it's important to the kids to want to go to those areas and fulfill their athletic promise, Charlton.
Very good point, Big C. On the West Coast, what they were talking was golf down at Pebble Beach. Great place. It rained a lot, but it was a great place. $7.6 million purse, won by the great Phil Mickelson. He finished 19 under par. The weather was pretty bad, but I hear the check cleared anyway, even though the weather was bad. You think about this. At Pebble Beach for the fifth time in the third golfer in the last 50 years to win multiple PGA Tours at the same event, the great Phil Mickelson. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, as you talk about, they were talking about the golf on the West Coast. There's too many things on the West Coast, Charlton, to concentrate on one or two. And no one really knew that Phil was playing today on the East unless you were a true golf fan.
Yeah.
The talk on the East Coast, Charlton, was about college football and college basketball with the National Signing Day and the big recruits being hit by Duke and Georgia, Charlton, hitting the top players in their position in the country. You weren't getting that on the West Coast. You didn't even know that the top two players in college basketball signed on the West Coast, who were Georgia and Duke.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not going to hear about You're not going to hear about, Georgia having three of the top three quarterbacks, Charlton, in the last 3 years, starting for other teams around the country. They're going to have one starting at the University of Washington, one starting at Ohio State, and one still starting at Georgia. You don't know any program on the West Coast, Charlton, that's talking about their college quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's a
big, what they can do.
That's a big statement.
If I'm a recruit, why would I be interested in programs that don't publicize me?
Yeah, and especially only when the season comes, that's when you get it hot. But speaking of hot, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bourdini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, we're looking at college basketball right now, Charlton. We're getting ready for March Madness. The top 5 teams in the country are staying what they are. Duke, had a dominant performance over Virginia this past weekend, and Tennessee stayed number 1.
Yeah.
We're still looking to see if there's anybody playing basketball on the West Coast.
Well, I think they are, but Bill Walton's talking so much, people start, what are we listening to, basketball or some guy thinking about Woodstock? Speaking of Woodstock, every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide when you follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America, and Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever an excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.